Welcome to Meaningful Mondays with the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, where we only know good people who do great things in our community. Whether you are a volunteer, a donor, or a nonprofit organization, each episode of Meaningful Mondays will celebrate you, our friends and neighbors who have a deep passion for and commitment to improving the quality of life for all in Middlesex County. So let's kick off the week with great conversations with remarkable people, businesses, and nonprofits making a difference right in our own backyard. Well, happy Monday, everybody. You know, every day is a great day in Middlesex County, but Mondays are even better because we have Meaningful Mondays at the Community Foundation of Middlesex County. And I am honored to have Maureen Westbrook with us today. Maureen is our new chairman of the board, and we're delighted that you found time to be with us, Maureen. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, we know a little bit about you, but I don't think our listeners do. You've got some amazing accomplishments that you can brag about, and it is your turn to brag. So just give us a little of your history and your story and all of the things you've done up to this point, because, well, we may be going into Tuesday if we let you go on and on and on.
Wow. I've had a career, was fortunate to have a career, most of it at Connecticut Water Company. I started there actually as their environmental person out in the field inspecting septic systems, and did many different things through the course of my career there, and concluded my career as the president when I was there. I retired just over 2 years ago. So I was over 30 years with the organization and just found it to be a great place to work and a great bunch of people who were integrated in their communities in a way that really was important to me and kind of makes an important connection to the organization and what we're talking about today.
Well, and community is really important to Connecticut Water. And tell us a little bit about, so for those of folks who don't know, because there are some wonderful programs that Connecticut Water does that when we did our research, I was reminded about your water drop watchers, your firefighter support grant. So talk a little bit about that, because I think it's really important for us to hear from somebody at your level the importance of giving back and what the payback is for that.
Right. Certainly. Connecticut Water, you know, their primary function is to deliver clean, safe drinking water to customers 24/7. And
right.
It's often one of those things that people almost take for granted. You turn on your tap and the water's there, but people don't have any idea what goes in behind the scenes there to make that happen. You know, the 200 plus employees who are working there, who do everything from the regulatory side to the customer service side to the behind the scenes people who make sure our computers work and our bills get processed and things. So, you know, I think it's important for a company like that, particularly, to get out in the community and let people know what they do and how they do it. And so the Water Drop Watchers program is a program we launched in the schools, and we had been offering programs in schools for years, but then we coordinated with someone who actually knew the Connecticut core curriculum and the requirements. So we were able to develop a class that really meets the requirements for the teachers. So you're not just going in to visit, but you're talking to the kids about, you know, how much water there is in the world and about water conservation and things that really align with a school science program. And so it's a value to the school as well as to the children. We make it fun, you know, the beach ball they throw around with the globe on it and stuff. But so it's entertaining to the kids, but it tells the story. And then similarly, you know, the firefighter program, support program, it's a grant program for local fire departments. You know, they rely on our water to fight fires every day. And it's important for us to make sure they have the tools and training that they need to be able to do that. So again, we send people in to go to their meetings, talk to them about how our systems work and whether it meets their needs. And then we offer this program where they can get grants to, whether it's for cross connections or other things that they need. So it's a neat way to connect with those local people. And, you know, Connecticut Water is like any other business. They obviously have a financial obligation, but they were very forward thinking, I think, in terms of well before sustainability and those kind of goals were corporate goals. They were very focused on customers, communities, and the environment as kind of part of their building blocks. And so knitting those together to be out in the community was very important for the organization.
And you know, you said something. I'm a former teacher, and so I'm sure the other teachers, the people who are teaching now, and let's give a round of applause for the teachers because they are just amazing. But instead of coming in and just adding one thing, to their day, which is jam-packed anyway. You actually coordinated, and that to me is, talk about customer service, is
Right.
really amazing. So again, as a former teacher, thank you for that. So, segue, because Maureen, not only were you involved while you were working and now, but you've been so active with the Middlesex County Chamber of Commerce too.
Sure. While I was working, now I retired 2 years ago and now have even more time to do all these volunteer things.
And we found you. We're very lucky.
Yes, I said, people told me when you retire, don't commit to anything, but I was already committed to both the Middlesex Chamber and the Community Foundation, and felt those were organizations I wanted to continue to be with, and actually expand my ability to support them with my additional time. And so, the Community Foundation is someone that I met you, Cynthia, through my connections at the chamber. And I think that's a lot of what the Community Foundation does and the chamber does. It's connecting people, providing those bridges to people who are in the same community, maybe doing things with very common interests. And, the networking and outreach opportunities through those organizations are just great. Whether you're a business or a nonprofit, it really puts you in touch with people that matter and that you might have very common interests with. And so
well, we're all so busy that we need those opportunities to get together and then to learn a little bit more about each other. And you're right. We did meet at a chamber event, and I don't know, several years ago now. And so we were lucky enough, I think, to have gotten an award from the chamber. So I think that's how we met. So you became the chair of the Middlesex Chamber, and then you got a little bit more involved with us. So we're very honored that you came and thought a lot about us to get involved, but setting up a fund with your family, I think, is important. So for those folks who might not know how you did this or why you did this, could you just give a little bit of background on that? Because you've done some amazing things with your fund.
Oh, sure. I think we were very fortunate in life, and I look around and see that not everybody has had the opportunities we've had to have. I've had a job that provided me great opportunities. My husband was a teacher for years, and we have children that we raised, but we had great support systems around us, and so we became very committed to our communities. We were both involved locally, Board of Ed, Board of Finance, Library Board, in the community that we lived in for over 2 decades there, and felt that, there's so many opportunities out there to reach out. And it's great to be able to give your time when you can, but also many of the organizations that support those communities need some financial resources. And we just felt it was an opportunity for us where we are in our lives, finally finished paying for tuition for our kids, and have one married off. And so those things are taken care of. And so looked a little outside ourselves to say, what else can we be doing to support the community? And I just found that Community Foundation was a perfect place to do that. I'm a big fan of doing things locally. I think there's a lot of wonderful national organizations, but it breaks my heart when you see kids that don't have a backpack when they go back to school, and they don't have clothes that everybody else has that are the cool clothes. And so I just I saw a lot of that when I was involved in the Board of Education, and kids that just needed a boost to be able to be successful. And so it became something that I said, how can we do that? And the Community Foundation touches so many local organizations, and ones I've never heard of, and ones that, you see all the time. But it just, creating a fund gave us a way to contribute to those organizations through an organization like the foundation that has all the administrative pieces and also knows the places that need the help most.
What Maureen's not saying to those of you who are listening or watching is that we're nosy and at the Community Foundation. And we really, and I say that only in the best of ways, because we really encourage the nonprofits to tell us what's going on in their world, just so that we can try to connect the dots and be more knowledgeable, so we can help donors like you and your family. So you do give back. I was listening to all the things you and your family were involved in. Oh my gosh. So for those of us who don't think we have the time, what's the word of advice for those folks?
Well, somebody always told me, when you want something done, ask a busy person. And I think that's really often the case. I will say when my kids were in school, someone suggested that myself and several others get T-shirts that say, "Stop me before I volunteer again." But
No, 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 no. That's a
that's
good
not one
one
of
though.
yours behind you. So, but I just think, if you want to make a difference or you want to have things
Right.
done, it's incumbent upon you to step up and be part of it. People who complain after the fact, if they weren't in the room to help make it happen, then shame on them. And so I think when you have the ability to do it, and you do have to stretch. I mean, there's many nights I ate dinner in the car, or my kids had, something fast food because I was off to a meeting or my husband was. But I think it also is an example for them to see that you make the time for things that matter to you.
And if
And
you could, my thing is we live here. Let's make it's a great place to live. Don't get me wrong. But to your point, there are some folks who haven't had the opportunities that some of us have. So let's help them have those opportunities, or at least get a foot in the door, whatever.
Right.
So that is absolutely great. So, we've been doing this series, and I'm asking people like you to just think and maybe give some advice. The paybacks of giving back. I mean, that's been our thrust for the past couple of podcasts. What is the payback from a personal standpoint, and also, in your corporate and volunteering standpoint? What would you say? What are your words of wisdom for somebody who might be going, I don't have time, what's in it for me? What's in it for my business, kind of thing?
I think it's one of those things that you make time for the things that matter. And
Yeah.
I think the Community Foundation makes it easy to be part of it. You do the behind the scenes stuff for so many things. I remember during COVID, I said, I'm sure there's people who need help. Give me a list of, if I said X dollars, where would it go? And you gave me a list of people that really had very specific things that they were looking for. And so I think, as someone who has able to establish a fund, that's one way. But also, the Community Foundation has a number of funds that are specific targeted areas. So you don't have to contribute to it, set up a unique family fund. You can just say, I want to donate to the Community Foundation, and then they will deliver those funds to the places, either if you identify a fund of interest to you or just to the general fund.
Right.
They will make sure that money gets out and gets put to good use in the community. And I think, it's like anything else, whether you're a business or an individual, seeing the results of that. And seeing that somebody has been assisted by your willingness to step up. We get the annual report from the Community Foundation, just brings smiles to your face when you see it every year. The picture of these children, there's one of a little boy on the boat on the
Right.
Connecticut River who is all smiles, and an opportunity that might not have been available to that kid unless the Community Foundation sponsored a group of free rides for that. So I think it's just seeing that and knowing that you've made a difference. And I think now there's so many more people who are stretched very, very thin. And so they're doing everything they can to put meals on the table and have health insurance and the car driving, but the extra things that are really part of what makes, develops a child or maybe can't happen. And that's where I think the Community Foundation can step in and help those things happen. And whether it's mental fields or other entities like that, you're finding ways to help unique causes and in a way that's very effective.
And we like to say here in the office, like we have our fingerprints on, so many different, we're lucky because we're never bored. We're never bored. Anything that makes a community, we can help a donor or a volunteer get involved in. But thank you for mentioning that little boy. That was his first time ever on a boat, first time on the river. And his parent, and I don't know if it was his parent, but the adults who were with the young people, it was some of their first time. So we were just so excited to see how much they enjoyed that. So thank you for mentioning that. So, Maureen, now that you're board chair, let's have some words of wisdom. We just heard from you at the executive committee meeting about you've got some focus areas that you want us all to work on. And hopefully people listening to you will join in or watching will just say, okay, I'm in. So your focus areas going forward.
I think my primary focus area is to, create more outreach and visibility of Community Foundation. It is an amazing organization, a very small staff, but very powerful. I always refer to it as the little engine that could, one of my favorite children's books.
Right, mine too.
You just get it done, and without a lot of fuss and not a lot of staff and not a lot of overhead. So it's really efficient use of people's money. But I mean, we've got a great story to tell. Those impacts that are out there in the organization every single day from work that's done through the community foundation. So my goal as a chair is to make sure that we're telling that story and getting it out there so that the general public knows, and people who may be in positions to give know, but people who may be in a position to volunteer also know.
Right.
Not always about, making a big contribution. There's the fund, it's $1 a day fund. So it's not a huge commitment financially. Or there's committees that are focused on whether it's environmental activities or, other areas that you can get involved in as a member of the community and support that specific initiative that matters to you without having to make a big donation, or without having to join the board, but focus on something that is really of interest to you where you want to make a difference.
So I just hope, thank you for that, because we try to think of ourselves as a resource, which is why we're nosy, why we tell the nonprofits to send us all the information about what's going on, so that we can be, if somebody calls, and we have been over the past couple of weeks, a resource to folks where it has nothing to do with us, but we know the organization that can help them. So we'll connect those dots. Right. So, well, we look forward to working with you, Maureen. I think you are another little engine that could, and that was one of my favorite books as a first grade teacher too. I loved reading that to the kids. And looking forward to. We've heard all the stuff you've done before, all the stuff you want to do with the community foundation. So in the next couple of months, what are you personally looking forward to?
Well, I do love being retired. Nobody thought I could do it because I was 150 miles an hour, 12 hours a day. But, I really enjoyed just being able to connect with people, whether it's, activities through the community foundation or just friends. When somebody says, do you want to go to lunch? I can go to lunch, and I don't have to watch my watch and wonder where my next meeting is. So I think just being able to be out there and do those things in a relaxed way and see people, connect with people. I have a friend from second grade I get together with for breakfast on a regular basis now.
Oh my gosh,
I didn't do that before. So, it's just those opportunities to make those connections with people that might have been not as strong while you were busy with all the other things in life. So,
well, connecting the dots, you do it at multiple levels. So thank you. And we're so very thankful for your time and energies working with the Community Foundation. So
my pleasure.
Maureen, we are so looking forward to your tenure as chair, and, just might extend it beyond the 2 years. How's that?
We'll see.
Well, folks, I told you, we only know good people who do great things in Middlesex County. And Maureen, thank you for being one of them.
Thank you for all you all do here.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Meaningful Mondays. At the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, we know that philanthropy matters and philanthropy works. Together, we support the arts, education, human services, animal welfare, the environment, heritage enhancements, and so much more by providing services, programs, and grants to our local nonprofits. We invite you to learn more and share your passion with us. Visit us at middlesexcountycf.org or contact us at 860-347-0025. Together, we can make great things happen.